the show where three, but two generations of family go head to head on a variety of topics. We got the BBB, the baby mona from Brooklyn, Kaya, and me, the Millennial. And the Gen Zer is out of this one today. So he's with us in spirit or via proxy.
Via proxy.
No matter what it may be, you know it'll be up for debate. We've got healers and thrillers and slappers and zappers.
Well, I know that there was a particular topic that is a little close to home that we wanted to delve into today. So before we get to this debate.
All right. So it's actually funny because a part of me wishes, like, when we were originally doing all of that pastor talk and all that church talk, that I didn't actually make the comments that I made. And it's not so much that I got to kind of like eat crow today, but it's just one of those situations where it's like, damn. But I don't even know how to start or where to go with this. But in a previous video, when, essentially, I was giving some of these pastors a hard time from the Black church and from some of these mega churches. And one of the examples I had used as, I don't want to necessarily say the standard, but one of the examples of, the good guys, the good, that it was, a close friend, a mentor, pastor, was Pastor Dawkins. And, recently, and it sucks, I really don't want to talk about it, but had I not said anything initially, I wouldn't have to say anything now. But because I did, in the interest of transparency and fairness, not only just like to us and, as a show, but just to other people that I criticize, I got to kind of just keep it real. So he has his own, issues that have come out, and not really sure how to go about this. This one's different. It's very close to home. But at the end of it all, I don't want to say nobody's perfect, because I feel like that's a cop-out. But would I be wrong in saying I don't know? It's I guess I was wrong, man. I mean, I don't want to sound like mean or critical, but I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like I definitely said, essentially, I don't want to say I said he was perfect, but I definitely said that. I mean, he was better than the dudes I was criticizing, but with the things that have come out now, it's
okay.
I mean, when for example, when I first found out, I called you and I was just like, yo,
No, first you text me and you was just like, get on the chat right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, it just was something where I felt like, yo, I don't want to have to say anything, but I feel like I have to say something. I don't know. Do I even say like what it is that happened? Do we have to get into all of that, or?
I mean, it clearly is on these blogs and it's out there.
When people apparently are a big deal, but to you, they're just that person. So you don't really know, because to see the kind of like public hoorah and everything that's going around this, and that was different, because I never saw him like that. To me, he was just Pastor D. He was just, cool Pastor D. You know what I'm saying? The dude that counseled me, that's mentored me, you know what I'm saying, that's given me, that tutored me growing up. You know what I'm saying? So just seeing all of these people talking about, this situation, it was just like, damn, like, yo, I didn't even know, he was a figure like that. You know what I'm saying? So that part of it kind of caught me off guard, because I'm one of those people that kind of like, I hate when other people around me suffer or go through something. And a part of me always feels like, if I could suffer through it for you so you could be fine, I would. I don't know why, I've just always kind of had that kind of just feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of thinking about it being so public and, you know, what's happened and all this other stuff, it's that part of it has kind of been like a super downer. And then I guess the other side of it is kind of just specific to me, just in regards to being public and saying what I said about John Gray or Pastor Lenz and what's the dude in Atlanta, Jamal Bryant and all those other guys. Now, I'm not taking anything back that I said about them, but in regards to, I guess, the praise that I was heaping on Pastor D, not to necessarily take back the praise, but to kind of just sit here and say, you know, in this case, I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say he's a bad person, whatever the case may be. Nobody's perfect and we all make mistakes, no doubt. But, you know, I can't get on here, excoriate those guys, you know, publicly while praising him and then not come back, you know, when something like this has popped up and at least not just, you know, face the fire. Yeah, it's actually funny. I've actually been meaning to reach out to him, but it's just one of the things where it's like, you never know how they might react to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I want to hit him up and just be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, hope all is well, praying for you. You know what I'm saying? If you need anything, I don't really know what I could do to help with this, but you know, it's kind of just like, just you want to show your support or whatever. Because it's also, at least to my knowledge, it's the first time I've ever heard of him, you know, just stepping in
that
the wrong,
light.
yeah, just, you know what I'm saying, just going in the wrong direction at all. You know what I'm saying? Or just doing whatever. So,
and this is just the mistake that you know about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because when you initially told me, and obviously the Dawkins name has been around for decades, and I was asking, I was just like, is that Dawkins? Like, that's Dawkins? And he was just like, I don't know. I just, you know, you know. But there was definitely a level of, like, you just was in disbelief. Number one, because the way that you had found out, and then you was like, nah, no.
Yeah, when I found out, I was just like, oh, please. I was like, whatever. I was like, yeah, right. And then,
like, stop with the shaming. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just like,
yeah.
Please. And then somebody was like, nah, just type it. And then I didn't even get through typing the whole thing. Like, Google just finished it for me and populated or whatever. And I was just like, wait a minute, what? And then, like, even as I would read stuff, I was just like, oh, no, this didn't happen. Because, you know, a lot of the information I was reading, because I know him, I was like, oh, this is wrong. So even then I was just like, ah. And then it was just like, oh, yeah, you don't believe us? We'll believe this. And then I was just like,
you got 4K proof. You got ultra HD proof.
I was just like, no. I was just like, damn. Because even
because of the fact that this is your people's, I know that you feel conflicted as far as what you say. So I'll say what you were conflicted to say. But there were indiscretions, and the indiscretions were of a sexual nature. And the indiscretions were not with his wife or anyone that may look like his wife or have the same package and wrapping as his wife.
Before you start that real quick, then, because you remember, I think I told you, like, I go to Hillsong Church.
Yes. Oh, and another one came out right after that.
The main Pastor Houston.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because if I'm not mistaken, Pastor Carl is married to his daughter.
Oh, shoot. This is a debate. If the day comes that you find out that your leader, your religious leader, is involved in scandal, salacious, antithetical scandal to what they preach on a daily or weekly basis, should you remain faithful to that flock, or should you flee? Flock or flee? So now you're saying that you were thinking about going to transformation. Why?
Well, to start, it's led by a brother. um, I I like Michael Todd for all the reasons in our previous debate that I had mentioned. Like he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot with his wife. He's been open about it, but he's talked about the growth and the change and everything like that. And I'm legit knocking on wood because I said this before, and then next thing you know, it was like whatever. But I love that because to me, when you have that experience, it allows like the congregation, or I just speak for myself, it allows me to really see practical growth. You know what I'm saying? Through what it is you're saying, where you've been, how you got to where you are now and all that other stuff. So I love that. I love the church, watch him on Sundays and stuff like that. Got both of his books right here. So just going through it, it's like I like him. It's unfortunate that the church is in Tulsa, but he has an online thing, so there's that. But leaving Hillsong is just more of like a kind of like a damn, like it's not necessarily the thing that you look to do or want to do, but it's kind of just like it's our pastor here and then the main dude. So it's like, yeah,
so you feel like it starts from the head.
Yeah, and you kind of just don't know where exactly, like now the church is in limbo. You know what I'm saying? To some degree, you know what I'm saying? You just feel like, I don't know if they know what's going on right now. And it's not that you don't trust them, but when something like this pops up with two of like your big pastors or your main pastors, it's kind of just one of those things where you kind of start looking around and you're like, are all those other rumblings you hear true too? You know what I'm saying? Just the little thing that you might hear that, oh, we were covering this up, or, they were doing this. And so it kind of is just like, you know what? I don't even really want to have to deal with that. Let me just find a new church home and, see what it is.
Should you flock or, well, it already sounds like you fleeing.
I'm fleeing. I think, all right, so I'll give this example. If I was at Pastor D's church, that would be a difficult decision because it's more than just the church. It's also like this dude married me. Like he was the officiant at my wedding. You know what I'm saying? So for me, there's a real relationship there. Because I remember even when I was telling my mom, she was just like, who's gonna, be your wedding officiant? And I was like, Pastor D. And she was just like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Like, this is whatever. You're like, he's been around forever. He tutored you when you were growing up and you went to church together and this and that and all these things. So it was, you know what I'm saying? That's a unique situation. So I think if it's I don't want to say depending on my closeness to the pastor, but I think depending on my relationship, my personal relationships to the people in the church and then to the leaders of the church, I think that has a real strong determining factor on whether I flock or flee. So like with Hillsong, I don't have a close relationship to the leaders of the church. You know what I'm saying? I kind of just know a couple of people who go, and then, you go, you sing, you dance, you do whatever you do, you have fun, you listen to the word, and you come back home. So I think it's easier to flee from that. But if I was in Pastor D's, like if I was at a church like that, where it's like I am invested, not only in this church, but with, the leaders here, then it's probably, I think for me, it would be more of a conversation like, hey, I don't know exactly where it is we're going with this or what you plan on doing next. I kind of have to see that the ground that this church stands on is fertile and solid, because at this point, you don't know.
Do you feel that the ground is no longer fertile because of some missteps from the leadership?
So for Hillsong, it's tough because there's a lot of great leaders there, like pastors and assistant pastors or associate pastors and stuff like that. There's a lot of really good guys there. But as things come up, like the Pastor Lenz situation came up, and then Pastor Brian Houston thing came up. But through the grapevine, you heard other things. Oh, people would do this and cover it up, and they would do that and cover up. So it was kind of like, now I'm inclined to believe those things are true. You know what I'm saying? So I think, yeah, it's actually one of the things that you said when we talked about this last time that resonated was, hopefully I remember and quote it correctly, but you were talking about, can you essentially have these indiscretions, or, you know, I think we were talking about Jamal Bryant in this case, where I think it was all the baby mamas and stuff like that. But it's like, can you be that person, but still get up there, preach the pulpit down and all this other stuff and have people flock to you and it be effective? I am mind blown right now. I'm all over the place. I don't know. Like, I'm sitting here like, I don't know. Like, because like with Pastor D, he's super ill on the pulpit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's amazing. So for me, it's kind of like, and the thing that I'm trying not to be is biased. You know what I'm saying? By saying like, I don't think those guys can, but he can. I think it's possible for all of them to do it, because before I had ever heard anything about John Gray or Jamal Bryant or anything like that, I was like, yo, these dudes are dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes are super dope. When I actually heard the things that I guess go on with them, it was like, oh, damn, like, bird. You know what I'm
And it
saying?
changed your opinion about the person.
Yeah, now it didn't change the fact of whether I believe they're gifted. It just changed, like, this seems to be an ongoing issue. So that practical growth that I was talking about in regards to Pastor Mike Todd, it's like, if you don't demonstrate that in your own life as the pastor, then I don't know if I can follow that. So you can make the mistake, but if you never grow or change from the mistake, then it's kind of like, I don't know if as a pastor I can get behind that. So I guess in regards to Pastor D, with something like that, if this turned into some reoccurring theme, then I couldn't stand behind that. You know what I'm saying? If it was a mistake that he made that, you know, he later on, you know, corrected and, you know, apologized and all this other stuff, and, you know, just long story short, just fixed it or whatever, then yeah, I can still support you and you know, stand behind you and all that other stuff. I didn't mean that the way it sounded, but whatever. So, but,
Woo.
but you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know. But that quote you said the last time when we were talking about that, John, has been in my head. I was just like, I don't know.
What'd I say?
When you said, can they, you know, be great on the
still
pulpit?
Be effective. Yeah, still be effective. I won't take that statement away, because just think of it this way, right? If you're in a ministry for however many years and you have been able to be blessed by the ministry, you know, the pastor there or pastors have done great job as far as the flock, and they have poured into your life, right? And then you find out, oh my God, he got a sex trafficking ring, for instance. Does that now negate everything that they have done for you throughout the years?
That's crazy.
So the point that I was trying to make was, so let's say you were in Lenz's church, right? You were in Hillsong, and then you found out about his indiscretions and his missteps with his wife, right? Now, his missteps and indiscretions with his wife, is that something that he needs to work out with God and his wife? Or is that something that he needs to now work out with God, his wife, his church, and the naysayers and everybody that he's ever spoken words to or spoken a word over? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and a part of me, when I think about it, I don't want to be anybody's judge. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make it seem like you owe me an explanation, because, again, I'm not your judge. But I've always kind of looked at it as, you know, can you put that person back on the altar? I feel like having a pastor who's humbled and humanized and just, you know, kind of hits the floor in that sense isn't necessarily a bad thing, but then you don't know whether or not you can trust the behavior going forward. You know what I'm saying? And then on the flip side, it's kind of like, well, this happened, it's out now, you know, hey, it got out, it's cool, I'll deal with it and we'll just move forward from it. You just, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people, when when something gets out, then it becomes easier to deal with because it's like I don't have to hide it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like I've been on the fence about it, kind of just thinking of it in that sense. Like, what if Pastor Lenz comes back, speaks to the church, let's say he apologizes to the church or something, and he actually discusses what he's gone through, what it's cost him in real life, what he learned in his spiritual life, whatever it might be. I think those are valuable lessons that people need to hear. I just don't know if you now turn that into a sermon as the everyday pastor again, or is this something where it's like, hey, we're gonna have him come this Sunday to kind of speak to you guys again, and then maybe we see where it goes from here. It's just when you see
then, does that mean that pastor or that they are no longer
pastor material?
Yeah, because of missteps.
I don't want to say they don't deserve. All right, if you're running a sex trafficking ring, then no, you definitely get.
No, that's something totally different. And I just brought that up as like the ultimate end of the spectrum. But obviously, this is not what Noey's talking about with Pastor D. That was not.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
That was not at all.
Guys like Pastor D, and so like Pastor D, Pastor Lenz, essentially they cheated on their wives. Let's just call it that. And then Pastor Houston was accused of sexual assault with, I think, a couple of women or whatever. Like when it comes to things like when they say like sexual assault, it's hard because it's like, sounds like potential jail time. At that point, it's kind of like, hey, I don't think you're getting back up here on this altar. If you messed around, on your wife, obviously that's not jail time. That's kind of just, that's a trust issue. Now they might feel like, well, if he wasn't doing it, well, I got to do it. You know what I'm saying? And then not only that, but then the church leaves that person as the leader of the church. Then it's kind of like, this dude went out here, did all this stuff, and he's still the leader of the church. Please. I ain't got to do none of this stuff. I can go do whatever. Now, everybody's not going to think like that, but I'm just thinking about those who are, that person who's might want to do the right thing, but is looking for reasons or ways to do the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? Like people who are always like, trying to find that one foot in, one foot out.
Yeah. I ain't got to do no, because look at this dude. He. But
so
see,
when you're in that
and
kind of
that's
position,
when you have that fine line, because that person may struggle with lust, right? But then you, and I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about just Joe Schmo, you struggle with lying or violence or theft. You know what I'm saying? So if that person struggle and that person's Achilles heel is lust, but yours is straight demonic stuff on the other, so why is yours now a forgivable offense and theirs not? But, and I always say, you gotta look at both sides of the coin, because especially when Obama passed and people were saying, nah, I can't rock with, because, now you done unleashed the gates of hell, and this is because of now the gay is now, and once Obama did that, it was just like a free for all on TV. It was just like, oh, Big Bird's gay. Oh, Pokemon's gay. Oh, Thundercats is gay. Like everybody was gay. You know what I'm saying? I had the conversation. I was just like, so why is it that, because everything else y'all was just like, yeah, Obama. But then as soon as he passed that, a love who you love law or whatever, you were just like, nah, I can't rock with that. But what if you cheated on your wife? What if you beat your wife? You know what I'm saying? What if you were stealing from the church finances, or because you were a 501c3, you were just like, we ain't got to report it to the government, so I'm gonna just take a little off the top. You know what I'm saying? And this is all I'm saying, because people love to be that one, to be like, you see what he did? But then they'll leave and go home and know they ain't speak to their family member for over 3 years to 3 decades. You'll walk right past them in the street and don't even speak. Or you'll see somebody in need and know you can help them and you just walk past. You know what I'm saying? So why is that sin so evil, but the stuff you do on a daily basis that's like breathing is not?
Message.
And for me, personally speaking, I don't see them as one is, so much greater or worse than the other. I look at it as one is public where people can see it, and other ones people can't see it. So while you can do yours and hide, some of these you can get caught publicly. You know what I'm saying? So I think that has an effect on it, but I don't think, any one person or any one thing is greater than the next. I just think it's like, hey, you might end up in jail doing stuff like this, or you might end up, in public embarrassment doing this, or, and then other things, it's like you just might have a hard time in your own household, I'm saying, for certain things that you did, but
one everybody knows about. One sin is open for free for all, and then the others don't nobody know that. No, ain't nobody see me do that.
Exactly.
Ain't nobody see that. Prove it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Prove I did it. Prove I said it.
Like, it's almost like everybody was blown away that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars. But I'm sure you've had parents wild out at teacher conferences or wild out at the concert because somebody disrespected their kid, or this or that. It's just ain't no cameras there.
And
so
you're
nobody
not
saw
being
it.
Watched by millions and millions of people all around the world, and every day now you're in the news cycle. Because if the situation with Chris sent him over the edge, imagine the fallout that happened afterwards because of that one misstep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now everybody got an opinion. We done talked about it at least 17 times since the Oscars happened. But all I'm saying is people need to be cognizant of not just everybody else's wrongdoings, but their own. You know what I'm saying? And I know that scripture in Psalms that it basically says, draw nigh unto God, and if you have a broken spirit and a contrite heart, he won't despise it or cast it away. That actually brings you closer to God. So if you mess up, right, but you honestly, with everything in your being, you are apologetic, you have contrition, God, I messed up, and you really mean it. But then 3 weeks later, you see that same shorty that aroused your loins for the first time, and but when you was contrite, you was like, God, I need you, Lord. And then you see shorty as you praying, and you open your eyes, and you're like, damn, she just gonna sit there looking like that in front of my face while I'm trying to praise God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
But when you repented, and when you were in the midst and you had everybody hands towards you and praying and casting out any, lustful demons, and you was just like, and you crying, yes, God, I'm sorry. You're closer to God. But then here go that old Jezebel walking down, and then just sashay down into her chair, and you just like, see? Then you like, God know my heart. And it like, come on. It's reality. It's reality. And with Pastor D, like, he was very comfortable in this situation. Clearly. Because he knew that the cameras was on.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like somebody did that whole Kevin Hart lie that he made up, and he got that swept under the rug. Remember that whole Kevin Hart when
The
he
Vegas
apparently,
thing?
yeah, and he said that his boy set him up.
Oh, that didn't happen?
No, his boy
Oh.
never set him up. That was the story that his team came up with in order to make Kevin look like he was the victim. But then when it came out that dude didn't do nothing, that story never got legs. It came out, and then it was just like,
It's like we're past that.
no, they paid off somebody. They paid off a whole bunch of people. Yeah, we gonna stick this down underneath. You know, when you got your smelly drawers and you put them all the way underneath the hamper because you don't want. That's what he did.
That's crazy. Yo, I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
It was all made up.
Damn, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
So
Because he had a documentary, I think, on Netflix. And he was talking about that's where I first saw it. But I just I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
The things money can buy.
So the powers that be, they swept that underneath the rug. I mean, it was a big old hump on the rug, but everybody just kept stepping over it.
It's like it'll flatten out.
Yeah, more people walk on it, even itself out. But yeah. So where are you when it comes to the contrition and the forgiveness? Because you also know what the scripture says about forgiveness. So if a person sins against you how many times, or sins against God how many times, should you be the one to be like, nah, I'm leaving. I'm not going to deal with this. Nigga got issues. I'm not going to deal with it.
I mean, I found out, I kind of took some time to kind of like process it and kind of just be like, okay, this thing happened. All right. And then in my mind, it was kind of just like, I had already like forgiven him for it. It was just like, all right, man, made a mistake. Hey, I kind of just, I treat people the way that I would want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? So I would want people to show me some kind of grace in any capacity. So I offer that to people in the same way. I don't know what you might be going through. You know what I'm saying? I don't know anything that's going on with you. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not with you every day. But I know if I was going through, I would want people to have my back. I would want people to, empathize with me if they could, you know what I'm saying, show me some form of grace, whatever it is that they can afford me. I would want that. And so I do the same, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I mean, he was already forgiven, you know what I'm saying? For me, I can't be sitting up in here, you know what I'm saying, like holding grudges and being, you know what I'm saying? I could be disappointed, I could be hurt by it, but you know what I'm saying, I get it. You know what I'm saying? The sun will shine another day. And you know what I'm saying? I just forgive people because again, if it was me, that's what I would want. Message. And sometimes it's just what people need.
So as far as your pastor's transgressions, what is your vote? You still rocking?
Yeah.
Are you still flocking or you fleeing?
I think if I was an everyday attender of his church, I might have to take a little bit of a reprieve. I might have to sit back a little bit. But as far as the man, I mean, you made a personal mistake, that's between you and your family. No, I can forgive you for that and still support you and things like that and forgive and whatever. So I think because of the relationship, even if I took a break for a little bit from the church, I would still probably stay because of the relationship with the person. But comparing that to Hillsong, which is kind of like, hey, I think it might be time to look elsewhere. It's a situation that's kind of like,
because you think that is definitely something that the fish stinks.
Yeah, it's like one time cool, next time okay, and then it's like this. It's like, you know what? There's a lot going on here that needs to be sorted out. So I'll let you guys get to it.
Stay tuned for scenes from the hilarious next episode of Up for Debate. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to whoever's watching this.
In the sweet
Bye.
by and by. Oh. Y'all gonna be with Calvin in the by and by. See, you said you done seen all manner shit done in this. I noticed you ain't say nothing about kneecaps.
So,
Willie Brown was around back then. Willie Brown was the nigga on the ad.